So this exercise is for developing some lumbar extension, and you could be looking to just build some awareness in that area. You could be looking to build some strength or some stamina, or just reinforcing some mobility in that area. So this would be kind of done after an exercise that allows you more access to lumbar extension. And lumbar extension is just your lower back being able to go into extension like this. We are interested in each of those 5 lumbar vertebrae kind of sharing the load, not kind of, it's hard to manage, exactly, but each segment should contribute a little bit of movement instead of kind of 1 or 2 segments doing the majority of movement. Usually where we get more movement somewhere that's not controlled is kind of where things can get a little bit grumpy. Whereas somewhere that's maybe like a little more locked up would be more kind of maybe more your tight feeling. Not always the case, but typically that's what I tend to see. So you can do 2 legs or 1 leg, depends on the pattern of interest. Maybe you're standing and you're reaching overhead. That might be more of a 2-legged pattern. Or maybe you're running or throwing or jumping, that's maybe more of a 1-legged pattern. So very simple to start off with. All we do is lay on the tummy and you start flat with the hands resting with the head. Want you to get a little bit of rib cage pulling in. So what that means is if my hand was coming here, I'm just gently pulling a little bit away from the ground. And that's just going to stop us extending excessively kind of around the middle to lower back. And it's going to encourage you to just do a little more movement shared through the lower back. We'll do 1-legged version. So if I lift the right leg and I'm lifting up like this. So as you get to the top, you're going to rotate a little bit and that's going to enable me to get into my lower back. If I don't get that high, my lower back's more stabilizing the movement. It's more my hamstrings and my glutes. If I get past this, now I start to lumbar extend. The right leg is going to get my sort of right lower back a little bit and then my left middle to upper back. Whereas the left leg is going to get my left lower back and then my sort of right to middle upper back. If I showed you from the other leg, and pretty good there. And so I feel it in through here, and the higher I go, it starts to come up into here. I'm counterbalancing, so with my left leg coming up, my right knee and my left elbow are pushing down into the ground. A little bit, not max effort. I'm still able to talk and breathe, so I'm not working at max effort. If we challenge with 2 legs a little bit, you could be flat as well, and you could lift up. But again, we need to get high enough that you feel the movement here, the actual extension. So if I'm here, I'm not high enough. That's just my hamstrings and my glutes. If I can get higher up, now my lower back is extending. And you can go up and down for reps, or you can just hold. Again, use your talking or your breath as an indicator in effort. If I can't talk, because I'm holding my breath, then you know that you're probably using your breathing muscles to try and stabilize instead of allowing them to work separately as a coordinated effort to breathe, and your other muscles are able to then generate the movement. So from a other end kind of point of view, if I challenge that movement, if I restrict or put myself into like an inner range extension, so I'm working the muscles now at a shorter range, I could be up like this, and same thing, I can lift up. I can lift up, and I could do 2 legs as well. Extension isn't bad. Flexion isn't bad. No movement is bad. It just has a purpose at a certain time, and your tolerance to that will tell you whether or not you can last as long as you'd like, or if things get grumpy if you push it too far. So if your back gets a little bit sore during this, just double check. Is it muscles working out, or is it kind of a familiar pain that you get? If it's a familiar pain, then back off. If it's a sort of new awareness of maybe some muscles working hard, then by all means continue. But you might get some muscle soreness the next day. Maybe you have a stiff back the next morning. It's not necessarily bad. That's what happens sometimes after you train. So it really depends on the amount of reps that you do. how long you hold them for, how far you push your capacity. Maybe a good place to start would be, say you could do 20 reps, maybe you just do 10. Or maybe you could do 10 reps, you just do 5. Go for like a 4, 5, 10 out of 10 kind of effort. A couple times a week, and you should start to build a little bit more comfort there, and it should start to make things like this a little bit easier to extend. So I'm throwing, or I'm kicking, or maybe I can now extend through my lower back a little bit. Okay? Give that a go.